Hello and welcome to lesson number 36 of the series Learn to Play the Violin with Me. You may have noticed 3 things that were written on the screen before I popped up. These are things you should do before we start our 15 minutes together. Tune the violin, rosin the bow if needed, and do a quick warm-up. You can revisit a previous exercise that we've done in the book or make up one of your own. A quick note about tuning. There are actually 2 places to tune on the violin. We've been using the tuning pegs here to make major adjustments, but you might need to just make a tiny little tweak and not change the actual real note of the string. If it's almost in tune, but it's not quite there, you want to come down here and use what's called the fine tuners. There's one for each string. These are used when you just need the tiniest little bit of adjustment to get your strings in tune. That being said, let's do this. During our last lesson, we had just finished number 78 on page 22 of the Essential Elements Violin Book 1. We're going to move on to number 79. Last lesson, we were introduced to the half notes. Remember, half notes are 2 full beats of sound. We need to make sure we're moving the bow along the string for all of those beats, 1 and 2 and. We're not just playing quick and stopping, but we are actually in charge of sounding that note the whole way through. A half rest looks like a top hat, and that's 2 beats of rest. Let's look at number 79, the half counts. We're starting on high D. Looks like we're playing every note of our D major scale, all the notes we know so far. We have half notes there, no repeat sign. Let's just get right to it. D. That's our starting note. Let's try to sight read it nice and slow. 1, 2, ready, play. Half note, half note. Half note, half note. All right, make sure you're using almost all of the bow. Don't go so fast that you run out of bow before the 2 beats is up. Let's try 79 again. I'm just finding my starting pitch. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. All right, let's try it one more time, a little bit faster, and then we'll move on. D, D. One day I won't have to do that, but today is not that day. 1, 2, ready, play. Stop. Sorry, that was still a little bit sharp. D. 1, 2, ready, play. All right, let's move on to number 80, Grandparents' Day. Let's check it out. So it's 8 measures long, no repeat sign. Let's look at the notes. It looks like the range of notes in this piece is from D to open A. So we are not touching with our left hand the A string at all. All right, let's try it nice and slow. See how far we get. Let's try the first 4 measures nice and slow. We're sight reading it. So remember, we're going from open D to the second finger F sharp. Those are our first 2 notes. D, F sharp, D, F sharp. Let's try that a couple times. Ready? And D, F sharp, D, F sharp, D, F sharp. All right, here we go. Sight read line 1, number 80. 1, 2, ready, play. All right, let's try that again. I had a couple bow angle issues there. Let's take a look. Make sure that your half notes are lasting for both of the beats that they are playing for. And we're switching from open D to open A, so we're getting good exercise on the bow angle. Let's try it again. 1, 2, ready, and. All right, so I lifted the bow after the open A. I don't need to do that. So let's try it one more time, a little bit faster, and I'm going to work on that. I'm also going to work on keeping my eyes on the music. So think of something, 1 or 2 things that you want to work on and focus on consciously during this run through. 1, 2, ready, and. All right, let's try to sight read slowly line number 2. If we take a look at it, it looks like the first 2 measures of line 2 are identical to the first 2 measures of line number 1. So that's good. So we already have to learn less. Measures 7 and 8 are different. So let's start at measure 7. The last 2 measures of the piece, let's start there because that's the new part for us. Nice and slow, measure 7. 1, 2, ready, and. Try that again. Measure 7, ready, play. All right, and the up bow and down bow symbols that they have, the up bow symbols specifically for this one, that's not telling us we have to do anything different. That's just kind of reminding us that we're starting that measure with an up bow. It's following the pattern of down, up. But since we are used to, at this point, starting measures with a down bow, and now that that's changing, they're just kind of giving us a reminder to show us that we're on the right track if we're starting those measures with an up bow. Let's try all of line number 2. 1, 2, ready, play. All right, let's try all of number 80, Grandparents' Day. It is andante, so here we go. We are going to, it's not very fast, so here we go. Ready? We're going to try it at this speed. 1, 2, ready, and just like that. 1, 2, ready, play. Oops. I messed up. I'm so sorry. Let's, I started playing line 2. That was my fault. All right, let's start at the beginning, number 80. 1, 2, ready, play. All right, great job. If that was an error on my part where my fingers got mixed up or I was going too fast that my brain couldn't keep up, I wouldn't have gone all the way back to the beginning to try it. I would have drilled that little part until I could play it correctly 3 times in a row and then gone back and try it. So whenever you make a mistake in a song, it depends on what kind of mistake it is, whether or not you go back to the beginning. If you are having trouble in measure 5, and there's 2 beats that you're having trouble with, drill those 2 beats. You don't have to start at measure 1, get to measure 5, mess up, okay, start at measure 1 again, get to measure 5. Just isolate exactly where the issue is, then add it back into context. But in this instance, I just accidentally read line 2 instead of line 1, so I just went back to the beginning because it wasn't something specific I had to drill, just I was looking at the wrong spot. Let's look at the yellow box. It says repeat signs. So we've met repeat signs already, and I had been telling you before that whenever you see a repeat sign in the music, if you find a matching repeat sign, then that means that that's the section that you're repeating. If you don't see that matching repeat sign, then that means you go all the way back to the beginning. So in number 81, Michael Row the Boat Ashore, we see that matching one. We also see first ending and second ending. So let's look at the road map kind of how this piece is put together. So we have measure number 1. It starts with a half rest, so 2 beats of silence. Then we play D, F sharp, and then we go to measure 2. You see that repeat sign. So you're going to keep that in mind. Circle it if you want to, so that your eye is drawn to it. After the first ending, you know exactly where to go back without having to search for it and adding beats of rest that shouldn't be there. You want your eyes to be able to find it right away so that you can play it smoothly without adding extra beats. So we'll play measure 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, down to line 2, 6, 7, 8, 9 is the first ending. You see the repeat sign at the end of the first ending. You go back to the matching repeat sign, which is measure 2. Play 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then you skip over the first ending measure, go to the second ending measure. Then a half rest, 2 beats of rest. You see a double bar line, which means that's the end of the piece. Also, those brackets, we haven't seen those brackets for a long time. The bracket means you keep down the finger at the beginning of the bracket because you won't need that string until you play that exact same note again. So there's no point in taking your second finger off when you play the F sharp there. They're telling you keep that F sharp second finger down because the note after it is an A. That's on another string altogether, so you don't have to move this finger because then you go back to the F sharp. So instead of playing open D, second finger for F sharp, then letting go to play the open A, only to put it back down to play the F sharp again, just keep it there because you don't need that string until you play the F sharp again. Let's sight read 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's sight read the first 4 measures. So it starts with a half rest and then open D. 1, okay, here we go. Rest, rest. Hold down. Half note. Half note. Half note. Play one more note. Half note. All right, we went into measure 5 there, but that's the end of the phrase. So after that half note A is the end of the phrase. Let's try it again. Here we go. Let's see where our problem spots might be that we can drill before adding it all back into context. Let's try it again. Okay, 1, 2. All right, let's try. Let's play F sharp to A to F sharp to A. So we're going to play F sharp, A, F sharp, A. Let's just play that over and over again. Keep your second finger down for the F sharp. Let's just try that a couple times in a row, starting on F sharp. Ready, play. Hello, I don't know what that was. My bow angle is wrong, sorry. Ready, play. Good. All right, let's try those. That's probably the trickiest part of these first 4.5 measures. If there's something else that you want to pause and drill it, and then we can try it together. Now, first 4.5 measures, then we'll try more. 1, 2. Half note. All right. Okay, let's continue on and let's play through the first ending. Let's start at measure 5, the second half of measure 5 at the F sharp, and then we'll play through the first ending. And then we'll call it a day. Here we go. F sharp, F sharp, F sharp. So we're the last 2 notes of line 1. I'll count off 1, 2, and then we'll start there. Ready? 1, 2. And then we stop because we go back to measure 2. All right, we will pick back up on this piece during our next lesson, and I cannot wait to see you then.